So you want to go from Friday fails to free ride Freddy. Well, you need to lift your wheel up over stuff. Manuals, wheelies, drops, climbing, and I'm going to show you the basic movements of this all the way through advanced in one video, broken down step by step. And the most important part about this is I'm going to tell you how to articulate your body and how to use your athleticism to do this, because my name is Dave Davidson and I'm the founder of Mountain Bike Academy. I'm on a mission to solve the progression problem and help you progress, and I'm also here to solve the crash crisis. First thing you want to do if you want to lift your front wheel and get out there and not be on the Friday fails is you need to listen to Mr. T. Everyone say, hey, Mr. T, as in Mr. TV. The first thing you need to do to get your front wheel up and to clear obstacles and to have control on the bike is you need to stop pulling on the bars. Now, this goes out to all the guys out there, which is 99.97% of this channel, because mountain biking is a sausage fest. Mom, do not look that term up again. I know you watch my channel, thank you. But listen, if you want to get the front wheel up, you need to start with a tall stance on the bike in a field or something like this, and you need to be able to bounce the bike up to you. Everyone's telling you to lift the bike up. You don't actually pull on the bars. What you need to do is you need to, step one, you need to free fall the body down. Then number two, you need to bounce off the trampoline down here on the bottom, and you need to stuff that suspension full of force, okay? This is a violent, quick, hard stomp through the feet, and what you may feel is you may feel a little pressure in the hands, but it needs to be 99% through the feet down here. Do you see the difference of that versus pulling up on the bike? Here's what I need you to do. I need you to subscribe to the channel, because I use a tracking software that allows me to see who has subscribed, and I'm giving away my entire fundamentals course for free coming up soon here, but you're only going to be able to get it if you subscribe to the channel. So do that now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the bike's spring to allow the bike to spring up to me, and then I row the bars up to my hands, and you might want to bend your knees a little bit at the end there for a little bonus distance. Now for all of you guys out there, will this work with an e-bike? It works with e-bikes. It works with hardtails. It's the same concept. Hardtail, super hard, fast, rapid, like that fast. With a big bike or a downhill bike, it's the same exact thing. You just need to do it like bigger and longer. It's like a bigger trampoline bounce, okay? So once again, standing tall, I should do this in full speed. All right, so that's it, nice and smooth. The key here, how you know you did this right, is you landed with your feet and your weight right in the middle of the bottom bracket, all right? So when you do this move, it allows you to initiate moves on the trail. The reason why, when you get out to the trail and you're trying to go over rocks and roots, or you're doing drops, or you're doing climbs, or anything, it's down to this. Because so many riders, what they do is they rely on pulling on the bike and then bracing for dear life, or pushing on the bike and bracing for dear life, all while their legs do no work. Your legs are strong, your arms might be strong too, but they ain't that strong. And the reason why this is so important, and this is what no one talks about, is that you have a mechanical disadvantage if you just pull on the bars, okay? So for all you science geeks out there, it's real simple. Imagine if you were standing on a 2x4. If the 2x4, this is my torque wrench. If you're standing with your feet here and you pull up on this like this, what does it do? It pushes into your feet. If you stand on top of this and you pull on it, this doesn't lift up. But if I bounce this up to me and I move out of the way, then it allows me to move with it, okay? So the thing is, like, people may push down on the handlebars and then pull up on the handlebars. It's extremely tiring, and it's just way too much movement, okay? That's what keeps you stuck. You don't need to load the bike and pull on it with your upper body. You need to be able to free fall, load that pressure through the feet, and then at the end of it, stomp real hard, all right? You will notice the bike bounces up, and then you can row it up to you. Now, I didn't even do this one perfectly. I did kind of drift back and drift forward a little bit. So I cheated. You got me. The whole thing's a scam. Don't listen to me anymore. It's fine. So here's what we got though. I also got about, I don't know, 3.5 feet of front wheel height. Now for those of you looking to bunny hop or to jump up onto things on the trail, the front wheel height dictates the total height you're able to do. So pay attention to that. We'll come back to that later. All right, now once you got the front wheel hop down, you need to move on to number 2, which is the wheel lift climb, okay? So I recommend that you do this for the sake of timing, okay? And when we do it uphill, there's a little bit of forgiveness. So what you don't want to do is go out and, okay, now I know how to add pressure to the trail, I'm gonna go do some massive drops. I actually recommend that you practice the wheel lift with uphill things first, because it'll help you work on your timing. It'll help you with drops technically. But the reason why you want to do this is because you can ride really big stuff on the trail with ease. You just roll up to it and roll out of it. Now this is just a wheel lift climb. It's technically a 3-stage thing. The first stage is we want to stand tall. The second thing we want to do is we want to do our front wheel lift. So if you look closely here, exhibit A, exhibit shock A, you're gonna notice this thing is squished up like a little prune. Ain't no travel left in that thing. My fork has about 1.5 inches of travel. I'm not getting through that because I run my forks nice and stiff. I'm 185 pounds and I like to pound on the bike. So now what I did here is I did drift back a little bit and I punched my hands forward. That is an option that you can do. You can also stand right on top of the bike and row the bike up to you as well. The only thing with that is that I'm riding flats. And if I run into a bump here while I'm just standing on top of the bike and rowing the bike up to me, then if there's any bumps down here on the bottom, I may notice that the bike stays behind me or gets held up a little bit and I might fall forward a tiny bit. So be mindful of that. And that's, again, the consequences are pretty low if you do something like this. Now what I chose to do here with this move is I chose to punch my arms out a little bit and stand up. And then what I did is I rode my hands up and I leaned forward. My intention here is to place the front wheel on the top of the obstacle, okay? Now, what I am able to do if I get into this position here is I'm able to time the front wheel by drifting forward and backward. The downside or the trade-off of doing it this way is that once I drift forward, I'm going to start falling forward, all right? So that's something you may notice. If you get the front wheel up, if we delay that front wheel coming down by staying back here, then you can do that, but then again, you got to balance in a manual, all right? There's a lot going on here. What you need to focus on though is putting that tire down on top of the obstacle. All right, does that make sense so far? If you're following along, give me a like on this video. It helps the algorithm and it helps more riders, and if you help me on my mission, I'm gonna like you. So if you wanna be buddies, just hit that like button. Next up, what we wanna do is once you've got the front tire on the obstacle, we wanna just roll through it. A couple ways you can do this. You do wanna kind of passively absorb, watch the ankles and the knees. You want to passively absorb the bumps. In other words, I want you to watch my torso here, just this section of the body. Watch that a few times. What do you notice? Do you notice how I have a nice, stable torso and oh look, it just looks like I'm sitting on my bike up here. So if you think about it, everything has to do with torso tracking, and if you want to watch a full breakdown of torso tracking, I'll include that in the video linked above. It should be right here. And torso tracking, what we want to do is we want to put the torso where it's about to need to be first, then let the bike follow. Okay? So by doing the front wheel lift, I'm putting my torso on a higher trajectory, which is where it needs to be up here. Then what I do is I let the trail bring the bike up to me. And I move my knees out of the way, zero effort. And I can just go pedal or hang out, give my wife a high five. Probably don't have time to do that because she's at my house tutoring your children in science right now. She's a very good tutor. She's an elementary school teacher. So for those of you who are trying to improve your gnar shredding, this is one of those concepts that'll help you. Now, why am I teaching you this on climbs? Again, it's because it's safer to do it uphill, nice and slow like this, rather than downhill where if you mess it up, you go crashing. So what you want to notice is that you put your torso on the trajectory where it needs to be next, so which is higher up on the trail. Then you let the trail bring the bike up to you. You just move your knees out of the way and sit down and pedal off or stand up and pedal off. Next, once you've got the wheel lift climb down, you can do this 5-10 times in a row without thinking about it. You need to move on to a two-step climb. A two-step climb, once you're done with that, you need to move on to the two-step climb. The two-step climb is just like it sounds. There's 2 steps to it. So for all of you that can count really high, all you scientists out there, hold up the number 2, or maybe put a 2 as a comment because you guys are paying attention. If you put a 2 in the comment, I'll even look at, type below it what you want some help with, and I might even make a video especially for you. So again, you want to start out nice and tall. Again, we're nice and centered. Chin is over the stem, nothing fancy, just your standard old, well, look at that, same thing as before. Free fall the torso down. At the very last moment, we're going to stomp through the feet. Now, you may notice that I'm a little bit lower here. That's because I'm planning on doing a bit of a manual. or you could call it a punch. What you're going to notice is that I get into that low position, and instead of staying directly over the cranks, I'm allowing myself to have a little bit of, my chin is forward a little bit. This lets me have room to punch my hands out. So the way that I've chosen to do this one here is to punch the hands out and place that tire right here. I didn't quite time it right, if you can see that, for all you nitpicky Nancy's out there. I was putting the tire up here on the top. Same goal as before. Now what you're noticing is I'm not moving the torso where it's about to need to be yet. I've got my tire down here first. The way I'm going to get my torso up this time, with the concept of torso tracking, is instead of just standing up and letting the trail take it up to me, I'm going to hop off of my feet and bring the bike with me like this. If you may notice, the back tire is off the ground. So this is technically a rear wheel lift combination with everything else. I will say that this one is kinetically intensive. In other words, there's a lot of stuff going on. And what you want to do if you choose this move is just put the front tire up there and then think about jumping off of the bike and bringing it with you. So you want to hop, but I also want to spring that bike at the last second. What you're going to notice here, if you can look really closely, is my spring is fully compressed on the rear. And then the very last second, I'm going to move into something called triple extension, all right? So I'm not pulling the bike yet. I'm leaving the tire on the ground, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, triple extension. So the feet, or sorry, the ankles, the knees, and the hips are all fully extended like I'm jumping jump rope, okay? So this is a pop. It is not a stand up, all right? This has to be pretty quick. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna scoop my feet up behind me, and I'm going to stand chin over stem. This just looks like I'm standing on the bike, and I just wait. Now for this one, I had to punch my hands out a little bit because I was too slow. So you notice that small adjustment right there. You can do little things like that if you need to. But the main move needs to be, because I've got the front tire up on the rock, I can jump off of the bottom bracket, off of the pedals, and put my torso where it needs to be by jumping, okay? Very important. This is a push move, not a pull. If you struggle with this, it's because you are pulling on the bike. In other words, you're standing up and then scooping the feet, trying to pull that bike up to you. Not possible. You need to jump. All right? Next, once you've gotten this one down, the two-step climb, we need to move on to the flat-out jump climb. The jump climb is where we jump the climb. This is important because it teaches you how to initiate a movement using pushing and then putting your torso where it needs to be without any help from the wheels at all. In other words, you're not using the trail to put the front wheel up there and then do it that way. So this way I chose to do a punch manual. That was actually really nice landing on the back tire. Good target. So what we want to do is basically a bunny hop. The other thing about this one is hard, and it's also difficult for people that don't have the athletic ability developed, or you haven't spent enough time working on things like core strength, working on things like your plyometric ability to explode off the bike. You don't have thoracic spine mobility or strength. So what you're going to need to do, a couple tips about this. Number one is you have to do the front wheel lift by initiating that drop, okay? So standing tall, then we're gonna drop down. This one's less about loading into the spring of the bike and more about just putting some pressure in there so that I can pop off of the back tire in a second. So what I need to do here is I need to drop down free fall, load the bike a little bit, and then from here, the key is it feels like hanging off of a rail. So if you got a rail, I've got another video of this one. I might even put the video in. You just lean back with your arms straight, nice and firm here. Do not punch the hands forward and lean over. That's the number one mistake that I see when people they're doing their bunny hops, is they punch the hands forward, drive their hips back, and then they complain on YouTube for weeks and months and years as they're stuck and then they never figure it out. So it's very frustrating. Notice that I'm just punching the hands out and I'm not rolling my scapula forward. It's very important. The next thing is that I'm going to row my hips to my hands while jumping. This is incredibly important. The reason why people can't bunny hop is because they don't reach full triple extension. Ankles, knees, hips must all be extended. In other words, it looks like that. It feels like you're hopping while you're doing jump rope, okay? So this is something that you do need to develop off the bike. This is something we specialize in from the intermediate stuff. So again, if this gets you stuck, hopefully you'll use this to get you close and then we can help you later. But there's nothing to sell you on this video, all right? So that's what you need to do. Get that triple extension, and then the moment that you're about to run out of room, then what you do is you punch your hands forward. That's it. This is the hard part. The punch forward, frankly, it's kind of easy. And that was really clean. It allows you to ride off into the sunset with 3 of your wives on your arm. Not that I'm into that. One's enough. So let's watch it again. Whoop. Nice and smooth. Man, this is a lot of fun. Now here's how this helps you out on the trail when you're trying to do things that go downhill. Downhill stuff, it's kind of the same. So if you have a drop, or if you're going into a G out, or you're basically handling those forces coming at you, or you're initiating a drop, then you need to be able to start movements with a push. Everything is a push in mountain biking. Very few things are just a flat out pull where you start from like a tall position or a low position and then you just pull on the bike. It doesn't exist. And so you need to have a full range of skills with pushing. So mainly through the legs, but also things like punching the arms out like this once you're in the air. Now, if this is something that resonated with you and you understand that this is not just about, bikes that are a nice hobby, but you realize that this is the way for progression. This is the way in. This is something that you use to come home to your family victorious. This is what you do to conquer something, all right? If you've already got the nice bike, then what I want you to do is pat yourself on the back because you're part of this movement. We're out here, again, solving the progression problem and solving the crash crisis. And the main thing that I want you to do is subscribe to the channel, share this with a riding buddy right now, and let's get after it out there. Thanks so much.